You execute your training with precision. You track your lifts. You consume adequate protein. Yet the expected hormonal dividends, the vitality, the strength, the mental clarity do not materialize. This is a logical paradox, an equation where the inputs do not yield the predicted output. The common advice you have received is unscientific folklore. It is a lexicon of false binaries. Lift heavy versus high volume. Cardio versus weights. These are the crude tools of a primitive understanding. They are incorrect. We will now correct the error. The objective is not to find a magic exercise. The objective is to create a precise neuroendocrine event. Here's the protocol. The revelation. 1. The law of systemic demand. The acute androgenic response is not triggered by the biceps or the chest. It is triggered by the degree of systemic stress placed upon the organism. Your central nervous system must perceive a significant homeostatic threat, a threat so profound that it signals for a system-wide anabolic upgrade. Small muscle isolation movements are noise. They are ignored by the hypothalamus. The protocol is therefore clear. Your training must be built around multi-joint compound movements. Squats, deadlifts, overhead presses, weighted pull-ups. These exercises recruit the maximum possible muscle mass and create the maximum possible systemic demand. They are non-negotiable. 2. The Lactate-Androgen Axis. The primary hormonal catalyst is not maximal weight, but controlled metabolic stress. This is the most critical and misunderstood variable. Lifting a weight so heavy you can only perform 1 repetition and then resting for 5 minutes creates a neurological adaptation, not a hormonal one. The mechanism is biochemical. When you perform intense work with incomplete rest, your muscles produce lactate at a rate faster than it can be cleared. This accumulation lowers intramuscular pH. This acidic environment is a powerful signaling cascade, directly stimulating the pituitary gland to release both growth hormone and luteinizing hormone, the precursor to testosterone production in the testes. The protocol is therefore precise. You will perform sets in the 8 to 12 repetition range. Your rest intervals will be strictly limited to 60 to 90 seconds. The objective is muscular failure within this window, driven by metabolic fatigue. You are chasing the lactate threshold, not the 1-rep maximum. 3. The cortisol ceiling. Anabolic potential is ultimately governed by the cortisol ceiling. Cortisol is a catabolic hormone. It is the antagonist. It is released in response to prolonged stress. Testosterone and cortisol exist in an inverse relationship. As one rises chronically, the other must fall. The more is better approach to training is therefore biologically illiterate. Training for 2 hours does not produce double the results. It produces a hormonal environment where cortisol dominates, actively suppressing testosterone synthesis and breaking down muscle tissue. The protocol is an imperative. Training sessions must not exceed 60 minutes of intense work. Beyond this threshold, the cortisol to testosterone ratio shifts unfavorably. Your recovery, your sleep, is not a suggestion. It is a biological command required to lower cortisol and permit anabolic processes to occur. The conclusion. Cease your search for the perfect workout. It does not exist. There is no single best workout for testosterone. There is only an optimal hormonal stimulus. A stimulus defined by systemic demand, metabolic stress, and cortisol management. This is not a theory. It is the operating manual for your own biology. You can either align with these principles and reap the endocrine rewards, or you can continue to operate on flawed data. The choice is logical.